So we already looked a little more into deforestation. Let's pick apart combustion a little bit more here. The first thing we've got is a graph on different global greenhouse gas emissions. So these are our top greenhouse gases that we mentioned earlier. Carbon dioxide we see on here twice, methane, nitrous oxide, and F gases like fluorine gases. So all of those are part of the greenhouse gas group. We're looking here at which ones are the highest to lowest. So looking at the graph, we definitely can see this is our largest percentage of greenhouse gas emitted. So that's carbon dioxide, CO2 from fossil fuel use. And then our next one would be methane. Methane is released mostly in the transport of greenhouse gases. It also is related to livestock, can be releasing that greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. So go ahead and add those percentages in. Our number 3 is carbon dioxide again, but from a different source. This one is forestry and other land use, so that could be considered deforestation. That was the 11%. And then the bottom one, nitrous oxide here. Again, we do get some of this released from combustion, not as high as levels of CO2, but it's part of that same combustion process. So you're getting these filled in on your own. Cool. Get your percentages in right from that graph. Okay. So here's a second graph. Again, I think you saw this one in the previous exercise. But when we're looking here, we just want to give what is the general trend of CO2 emissions over the last 170 years here. So we're looking at the level of emissions kind of start low, and then it definitely is working its way up here. This is clearly an increase in fossil fuels emissions. And so we're asking you here, what are some reasons we have that trend? What might have been going on that's increasing here itself to increase the levels of CO2 emissions and combustion? So what might humans be doing? See if you can come up with 2 things that would increase the levels of CO2. Our last little piece of combustion here is just thinking about what are we using all these fossil fuels for? So another pie chart here with a few numbers. Our biggest 2 over here on the side, transportation. So that's both personal and public transportation. So airplanes to individual vehicles, and then also electricity. So lights and plugs, right? Age of cell phones, computers, everything plugs in and has to charge. We're charging everything all the time. And so electricity is typically coming from coal, where transportation is burning gasoline, which is a derivative of oil. So we're seeing all the fossil fuels accounted for here in those 2 major pie pieces. So, of course, the carbon cycle process we've been talking about is that combustion. We're seeing this happen nonstop. And so here we're asking you to think about, just start that ball rolling. What can we do to reduce these levels? Maybe something you personally could do, maybe something community-wise, maybe nationwide, worldwide. There's no big or small here when we're thinking about what could anyone do to start lower their levels of transportation and electricity. So see if you can get at least one idea for each here.